Guys, this is the specimen of a human heart, and as we all know that human heart is a conical muscular organ which is situated in the middle mediastinum, and it is situated placed obliquely behind the body of the sternum and the adjoining parts of the costal cartilage. So we have to study how to hold it in the anatomical position. So you will have so a little bit about its external structure before moving on to the anatomical structure. So it has four chambers and apex which is directed downward, forward and to the left, and there is a base of the heart which is directed backward, which is also called as the posterior surface of the heart, and there are three surfaces of the heart, which is the anterior or sternocostal surface, and left lateral surface, and the inferior or the diaphragmatic surface. And there are borders which are the upper border, the right border, the left border and the inferior border. So you will have to place it in your left hand with the apex directed to the left downward and the base directed downwards and backwards. So this is the anatomical position in which you will have to hold the heart. And then uh, the apex of the heart. The apex of the heart is formed by the left ventricle, and which is directed downward, forward and to the left. It is situated in the left intercostal space, laterally 9 centimeter laterally to the mid sternal line and just medially to the mid clavicular line. Okay, now moving on to the base. The base of the heart or the posterior surface of the heart is chiefly formed by the left atrium, and a small part of the base is formed by the right atrium, and it is separated from the vertebral column by the pericardium. And moving on to the borders of the heart, the upper border is slightly oblique and it is formed by the right atrium and the left atrium, chiefly by the left atrium. The right border is more or less vertical and it is formed mainly by the left atrium. It extends from the superior vena cava and inferior vena cava, and the inferior border is nearly horizontal, mainly formed by the right ventricle and the part of the left ventricle which is forming the apex of the heart. The left border is oblique. The left border is oblique and curved, and it is formed mainly by the left ventricle and partly by the left auricle, which is and this is the left auricle and this is the left ventricle which is forming the left border, and the inferior border is done, the upper border is done, right border is done, the left border is done. And then moving on to the surface of the heart, the anterior or the sternocostal surface is formed by the mainly by the right and the left, right atrium and the right ventricle, and partly by the left auricle and the left ventricle here. And the inferior or the diaphragmatic surface, it rests on the central tendon of the diaphragm and it is formed by the left ventricle and the right ventricle. Okay, now the left surface of the heart. The left surface of the heart is formed by the left auricle and the left ventricle, and the crus of the heart is also also be seen on the posterior surface, which is the meeting point of interarterial, atrioventricular and the posterior part of the interventricular grooves. So moving on to the vessels of the heart, we can see here the pulmonary trunk which is arising from the left ventricle, which gives off, this is the pulmonary trunk right here, you can see it, and then this gives off right and left pulmonary artery, and this is the ascending aorta which is arising from the left ventricle, which continues the arch of aorta and descends down as the descending aorta. Here it gives, this is the trachea, do not confuse it with other structure. This is the trachea. So this brachiocephalic trunk arises from the arc of aorta, which gives off right common carotid artery and right subclavian artery. Okay, and here you can see the left subclavian artery and the left common carotid artery. So the branches of the arch of aorta arising from the arch of aorta are done, and then on the post, and then here we can see the superior and inferior pulmonary veins. So there are four pulmonary veins, the superior pulmonary veins, 2 in number, and inferior pulmonary vein which are also 2 in number, which opens into the left atrium. And then Here is the superior vena cava, this one here, and here is the inferior vena cava opening into the right atrium, and this is the brachiocephalic vein combines with the right brachiocephalic vein and opens into the superior vena cava. Actually, this is the brachiocephalic vein which opens into this. Okay, so, and once again I am holding in the anatomical position, which is very important. This is the anatomical position. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe.